Good evening and welcome to Trigger Warning. On tonight's show, hungry children, beheadings, and cloud shouting. Graham, roll the Duke.
It's time for Trigger Warning.
Trigger warning! Fuck your feelings, you little snowflake! Triggerwarning.tv.
How dare you!
Yeah, we're back. It's Thursday. It's time for Trigger Warning. How are you guys doing tonight? Hope you're well. Let's have a look who we've got in. We got Fat Belly, Cup of Tea. Hello. Smoke Steve. Andrew Bell, Last Dance. Good to see you. Rick Kerr. And Mark Wilde and some others. Graham's just put a screen up. I can't see. Salian Gannon Thrall. Well, that's a new one, but hello. I'm glad I sound different to how you imagined. I'm not sure what voice you imagined I'd have. You'll have to tell me. I'd like to know. Please do. Looking coiffed and buffed there, Hayden. Yes, polished. Freshly polished. Now, we've had quite an interesting evening in the studio, actually, don't it? Some of you guys will have known. Stephen Englander, who is a accountant and business development consultant, came on to talk to people about what they can do with their business during the lockdown. Stephen has joined us. We're going to bring him in later on. Say hello, Stephen. Go on, pop him up. There
Hello, Stephen.
No, not yet. You're not up yet. Graham's still thinking. There we are.
Oh, hello.
There we are. And Stephen's going to have a little chat with us about lockdown economics and shit like that. Obviously, in a very reasonable trigger warning way. I'm, of course, joined by Herr Sturmführer himself, Graham Herman Goring Booth. How you doing, Pickle?
I'm good. I'm really good, actually. Really good.
My favourite communist.
Fuck off. Stop calling me a fucking communist. I'm one of like maybe 20 people in this fucking country that actually believes in capitalism. Genuinely. And all you do is smear me.
I wish I hadn't fucking said anything
No,
now.
just giving me this shit.
Full-blown communist. Mickey Rivera says, hi, Daddy.
Ooh. Oh, is that when I popped up? Hiya, Mickey.
I hope you mean Graham.
Get on my OnlyFans, mate. It's all there.
Hello, Keenan Hughes. How you doing? Gorgeous George. Good to see you in the Vapist. Bone Marrow Group. Who hasn't watched for a while. Glad to be watching. Glad to have you with us again, Bone Marrow Group. Fantastic. We've got quite a few things to talk about today. Quite a few things. I shouldn't have moved my pieces of paper there now because they're out of sequence. But the first one, or the first thing, what's up, Graham?
Do you want a fresh set?
No, I'm good.
In order?
I'm all
Okay.
good. Thank you, though. The first thing I want to talk about is children. Don't worry, if you're on a register, which I'm sure some of you are, not that kind of chat, you won't get in trouble. It's estimated that here in the UK, up to 1/5 of households have hungry children in them. Children that aren't eating enough, whose parents, for whatever reason, I don't know, they're on benefits, they can't work, they're not getting enough money, they're choosing between heating and eating, and it always gets worse at this time of year. And one of the things that we do is give them free school meals. And this is important because it means that they actually get at least one hot meal a day. And recently, there was a move by a Manchester United player called Marcus Rashford. I detest Manchester United, but I do admire this young man who's used his celebrity for something other than spit roasting women in hotels. He's made a push to elongate the free meal system to go through school holidays so that kids can still have some nutrition. There was a vote in Parliament as to whether this should happen. The government, Conservatives, the Tory party, voted against it. Now, some did abstain. Most of those are on holiday. A couple have actually resigned, but they voted against free school meals to be extended over the holidays for the poorest children. It was claimed that it's nothing more than something driven by millionaire celebrities. keep in mind, we're talking about children who aren't getting enough to eat. Not having a PlayStation. Not having a foreign holiday. Not getting enough to eat. Now, Brendan Clark Smith, double-barreled surname. Sure sign of an absolute arsehole. He said this. I'm going to read this verbatim. Where is the slick PR campaign encouraging absent parents to take some responsibility for their children? First point. Brendan, you're in the government. It's your fucking job to make the slick fucking programs to educate people as to how to feed their kids. Your job. Nobody else's. Yours. So keep up. So, he then came out with, I do not believe in nationalising children. Nationalising children. Remember, we're talking about feeding poor kids. We're the 6th wealthiest nation on earth. On earth. How in the fuck do we have children not eating? How can we say there's not enough money to feed these kids for a couple of weeks when we can give fucking Serco, the most dependent child in this country, 12 billion to build a database that did not work? 12 billion for an Excel database. Billion. But that's all right. As Stephen pointed out the other day, Boris spunked £53 million up the wall on a fucking flowery bridge that didn't happen. But we can't find a few million quid to feed some kids. Brendan Clark Smith went on to say, instead, we need to get back to the idea of taking responsibility. And this means less celebrity virtue signalling on Twitter by proxy and more action to tackle the real causes of child poverty. The real causes. This is a man in the party that in 2015 redefined the meaning of child poverty to improve their fucking stats. They changed the rules so that starving kids weren't officially classed as starving kids anymore. They moved poverty. This is what they do, but he said we need to do something. No one should be pointing out the starving children. We should be educating adults as to how to better look after their kids. Now, someone today argued me that's the point, and I agree. We should be educating people to manage money. But at the same time, there will always be those who can't, for whatever reason. Maybe they're just shit people. Maybe they're just shit with money. Maybe they're loser fucking parents. It's not the kids' fault. It's not the children's fault. We should still be making sure they get fed. We're falling into that trap again and going, well, it's just scroungers, isn't it? Like we have every year with benefits and things like that. Oh, scroungers, who account for a minuscule amount of the cost of this country. It's inconsequential. Even more so now when you look at the amount of people being pushed into poverty with increased job losses, increased financial pressures, life pressures, health pressures because of lockdowns and other idiotic government ideas to further fuck our lives in the interest of making sure they get re-elected in a few years' time. It's uncaring. It's cruel. It's fucking wrong. It's disgusting. If we can afford to pay Serco and G4C and these other companies to run things ineffectively, poorly, and cost so much money, if we can invest in foreign nations, if we can invest in this, why can't we invest in something the country does need, which is its citizens? I've had an argument many times with people that are advocates of particularly more on the right in America, how it's not a right to have healthcare, it's not a right to have education. If you are any kind of capitalist, any kind, you will understand that every business requires investment. If you can invest more in a product, you're probably going to get a higher profit yield. You're going to have a better product. We need to invest in our young people. We want them to be healthy and smart. And as a result, our nation will be lifted. But to sit there and say, well, we'll just educate the parents, doesn't put a meal in that kid's belly. Yes, Graham.
There's something I don't understand about this. How would it work? If all the schools have closed, how were they going to give school meals to kids? I genuinely don't get it.
We've done it before. In fact, a lot of schools did it off their own back.
Right.
The parents could just go and collect a meal.
They're just talking about going and collecting food. Then,
Yeah, I mean, literally, they've done it before. Our schools have done it off their own back. There was a headmistress not long ago and a headmaster that delivered them during lockdown, paid for them out of their own pockets.
I know. Yeah, I know there was a thing during lockdown, but schools themselves were open. How is it supposed to work next week when the schools are closed?
Well, that's what it's supposed to fund. There's a meal in place. They will go and
Yeah.
open the kitchens. You know, they will deliver to the people who go to school. I don't think it necessarily has to come from school. It has to be a hot meal.
Yeah.
Because it might be the only one those kids get.
No, I get that. I just
During
don't.
that day.
I suspect it would have been a catastrophic failure. I also think that with the amount of money that the Tories have been throwing around recently, it's probably a catastrophic failure that they should have tried rather than just voting against it. I don't think it would have worked. Not for a second.
You don't think they could have opened kitchens and fed some kids?
No, I think it would have been a failure, an absolute failure, with a few days' notice. What have they
They've
done?
not had a few days.
What have they done in the last? Well,
They've
it's
had
next
fucking
week.
weeks.
Yeah, but but they've just done the vote, and it's next
Yeah,
week,
because
isn't
they
it?
put it off because they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, right, it's very emotive to say free school meals. We need to feed kids. It's a good point, but it would have failed, guaranteed. The only way you could have done it, the only realistic way you're doing it is by giving people extra money for 2 weeks or giving
That's
food
not the
banks
only
and things.
realistic way.
Well, how are you
You
going
have a
to?
delivery. You have a point for pickup, and it's not hard to sort catering out. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
It's not a logistic impossibility.
Yeah, but you're saying that, but what have they got right in the last 6 months? You know, everything's
Well,
fucking
so
failed.
don't try.
Yeah, well, no, that's what I said. I
just
said
fucking do it.
I said
I
try,
think
but it would have
what they do
failed.
is give a lot of money to the people that are already doing this.
Yeah.
And that's the way you do it. The people that run the soup kitchens, the food banks.
Yeah, that's what I was
They
thinking
put
about
it.
it.
That's how it
Yeah.
works. They put it together. You'll collect it from the school, from the local church, from
Yes.
wherever.
Yes.
That's how it works.
That's what I was thinking on the way
sorry,
down
When
here.
I said school dinners, I
Yeah.
didn't mean they'd go in and eat in school. Although,
Well, I think that's what a lot of people are thinking,
Yeah.
though. But there is like a logistical reality. Or what this vote actually was on was: should we give the food banks more money, or should we give food providers more money?
well, it's just
that's
it's
essentially
to
what it
ensure
was.
do we give enough money that people can feed these children?
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Because you never, it wouldn't have made any sense to keep school kitchens open.
No, I think it's just school meals means
Yeah.
that meal during the day. It would be distributed by other means, like they've done it with cold food in the past, haven't they? Sandwich bags.
Yeah. Well, my
Things like-
my daughter's school had cold food the last couple of months.
It's an
Yeah.
increased version of that. That's all it is. It would have been a drop in the ocean, logistically possible, because the infrastructure's there.
Yeah,
it just
I mean,
requires the funding.
I think that I still think they would have failed, but I think they should have at least tried.
I don't
you
think
know.
they'd have failed that badly. I think they'd have failed less than they have by not doing it.
'Cause to me,
because
like-
they've not done it as a point of principle.
It's not necessarily that. It's the money can be put there, but it's for me that the reality of how it would work is the same parents that aren't feeding the kids, not all of them, but the ones that are really vulnerable and really hard done by, they're the same arsehole parents that aren't going to go get that food.
I know, but
that
we
aren't
can't
gonna do
fix that as
You
well.
know what I mean? So what you're looking at is that for me, the people who would have benefited from it is the people who are already feeding the kids. Because they're then saving a bit of money, aren't they? You know,
It was also the ones that can't. The fact is, we could never choose because we can't get to everybody.
yeah. No, I understand that.
The arsehole parents are arsehole parents. We can't fix
Yeah.
that. It's my point is for us to say it's throwing money away. If you feed 50% of those kids, that's 50% of kids that are getting a fucking meal.
Yeah, no, I get that. I
And
get
I don't
that.
get,
Yeah.
we spunk the money at the wall on every other fucking thing, but we can't do it for this. And pricks online who probably think that they're being very conservative and very proper and Tory. Well, you shouldn't have had kids if you can't care for them. Yeah, welcome to the fucking world.
Like I said, I think this is personally, I don't think it would have worked very well. But I think that it's.
I know there are
it's a
people out there that
mistake
would
they
have
should
broken their
made.
backs to make it fucking work.
Yeah.
Because they're doing it now for nothing. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. They'll be fed. More kids will be fed than would have been if these places went in operation. They needed a little more funding.
So do you think then with the, you know, in terms of like the bottom line, how things have turned out, because this vote was turned down, donations to that charity have gone through the fucking roof.
No,
like
phenomenal. Do you know what?
levels.
I don't think they
so
have.
Do you think no, they have? It was trending all over Twitter. People
But I
being
don't
mad.
think it depends,
So-
doesn't it? Which charity? Which
The-
one?
the one- I
and
can't
what
remember the
sticks
name
in
of
my
it.
fucking throat
What?
is that in a country where you're paying fucking taxes,
Yeah.
we're going to charities. Only a country that's fucking failed has charities for food.
Yeah, no, I get that. I
Utterly
get that.
fucking
but
failed.
the reality right now is that charity that feeds
The
poor
reality
kids,
right
they've got
now
things.
is that government,
Yeah.
without any fucking trouble whatsoever, could have gone to every single big city, no fucking problem, because they can distribute money like that to mayors, to council leaders, and that could have been put out there, and it would have improved the fucking situation. So I don't really give a fuck about it. I think logistically, I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
put
but-
50 fucking million down, get the money in. I don't
Yeah.
care if half of it's fucking spent on coke and hookers. Get that money into those fucking kids.
Yeah.
And that's what should have happened.
But has it? But what if it has? It has now happened though.
No,
Like,
but has
are
it
you
happened
happy?
equally and everywhere? Has
I
it
don't
been
know, I
sorted?
don't know.
No, exactly, because it's charity. You rely
No,
on people are
you don't-
giving.
you don't know that either.
Hold on. We're in the worst. No, just calm your tits. We're in the worst fucking
I'm not the one
economic
getting excited
situation.
right now, Aidan.
We're in the worst fucking economic situation we've been in our fucking lifetime. Mm-hmm. People are donating to one charity, they're taking off another. Now, it could be in a more affluent area. Oh, I'll give to the food bank, I'll give more. Is that going to get to fucking Tyneside in time?
I don't know,
Whereas funding to local government can be done instantly. But they won't do it. They haggled over 5 million of fucking Manchester. It's a political point. It's a political fucking point because we can hand money out, hand over fucking fists to everything.
I just think that you're very, very emotionally involved with it, and the reality is right now that the charity, I can't remember the name of it now. If you look at it, it's like Fresh something over, right? And then they're not feeding rich kids. The whole point of them. That's the one that
I know
Marcus was around, right? So people have consensually given the money to it.
Yeah.
So that's a good, it's just on balance. Surely things are kind of all right then. The Tories are still bastards.
No, it's still a fucking million miles from all right.
But the thing is, though, Hayden, if people have consensually given that money, right?
Yeah.
If it had been done via the government and via taxes, they're still giving the money anyway. But just in a year from now or 5 years from now, when they start hiking the taxes up from
I don't give a
everything they're
fuck
doing
about
now,
that.
so it. Is it?
No, you see, you're getting into all this side of it, and it's all fucking irrelevant.
It's not.
We're the sixth richest country in the fucking world.
Yeah.
We've got kids that aren't being fed.
Yeah.
We have to have a fucking footballer,
Yeah.
begging to feed them during a school fucking holiday.
I get that.
That's my point.
I get that. Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
give
yeah.
a fuck about logistics. I don't give a fuck if someone's giving it to the charity. My point entirely is the attitude towards this.
Yeah.
I can't get into the logistics on this any more than you can. What's in place? How do we do it? No. My entire point is that we've arrived at a fucking point where some kid that plays for Manchester United is now being pulled apart in Parliament.
Yeah, no, I get
by
that.
the
I get that.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So it's no good going on to me about logistics because anything is possible. If there's will, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now. If they can get £60 million to fucking Sheffield overnight, do you know what? To be distributed to businesses.
I said that,
We could do
Aidan.
it with food
I said
banks.
that at the top. I think
So it could be done.
And
the fact that it's been put in by
charity.
charity is doubly sickening because the taxes are being paid anyway. Taxes are going to go up year on year, regardless. And we'll still have starving fucking children because some people are sat there right now going, well, it's the parents' fault. Fuck them.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying though.
No, but that's what I'm talking about. That's the whole fucking point of this.
There is a balance though. I think like if you know that it is a good. It's bad the way the Tories handled it, and they should have funded it. But it's good that there's awareness enough so that people are doing it by consent. They're actually paying for it by consent.
Right. I'm talking about the government.
You know,
now.
like in terms of like.
I'm talking about the government now in this show. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Everyone people give to charity. People give the last fucking bean. We know some kids will be fed, but so many more could have been fed if we weren't playing political fucking games and trying to appease fucking voters on this side, voters on that side, brush it under the fucking carpet. And like I say, Marcus Rashford, I'm not a United fan. I don't look to footballers for inspiration for many things. But we're watching that kid being torn apart because he's rich.
Yeah.
And because he spoke out. Why is this millionaire speaking out? He wasn't born a fucking millionaire. He got to be a millionaire because unlike half the fucking gammony red-faced cunts sat at home right fucking now saying, fuck those poor kids, I don't believe they exist anyway, he worked really fucking hard. Knocked his fucking pan out to be the best at what he does.
He's been talking about this for a year now as well, hasn't he?
I've got to give it to the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's doing what he can. And I can't knock him.
Lacey's telling me to mute his mic. I'm the one that I can mute myself. Would you like that? It's just, I just thought it was an interesting thing.
No, it is
because I haven't felt because when I was on my bike down here, I was thinking about the free school meals thing. I was like, how the hell are you going to get school meals to kids? Like, it doesn't make like it would have.
Do you know
to be
there's another
charity,
thing you're not considering?
You
You talk about charity. If you put a call out next week, tomorrow, listen, for the poorest kids, we just need head teacher and a couple of canteen staff. Not to cook, just put it out. They'd be there like that.
Yeah, dude, I email my kids' school every week
So that's
and
what I
offer
mean.
my
The fact is,
services.
but they'd be there.
Yeah, I've worked in kitchens.
Because they do it off their own back. So the logistics,
I know
even
that.
serving them isn't a problem.
Yeah, and
you
I've-
could have them in school.
And if they were doing that, I would have been one of the people serving, guaranteed.
So they could have.
But,
any of this was possible. Not with a day's notice, most people would turn in. So logistically, it's not that difficult. Mostly it's a matter of scaling up. Suppliers aren't short on anything. You know, we're talking the basics. Logistically, it can be done. Financially, it can be done. Oh, we've already borrowed too much money. Who the fuck have we borrowed money off? It doesn't exist. None of it exists. When they say to us we'll be paying back the cost of coronavirus for the next 2 generations, truth is, who we paying?
well,
No money's actually moved anywhere, has it? It's all a load of bollocks.
I mean, kind
Feed
of.
the fucking kids.
It's
End of.
Well, it's bonds, isn't it? It's like government bonds and stuff.
It's all a
but-
load
and
of bollocks.
it's
Nothing's
fucking
nothing.
people's savings. But,
It's numbers on a computer screen that aren't backed up with anything else.
well, not entirely. I mean, it is.
Yeah, almost completely entirely.
Yeah, but I mean-
That's how the system works.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it is people's savings that they dip in there. It is real people's real money that they are going into. There is kind of, well, that's a whole thing for another
That's
show.
mostly financial institution lending, not once you get onto the global stage. It's not backed up by anything. That's the whole point. When we moved away from the gold standard, we were dealing on promises.
Yeah, but that's what it is, though. It's a government bond, but it is a real person who you are promising to give money to eventually. Like
Who
it
is it,
is.
though? Who is it?
Well, it's people with savings. It's real people. Government bonds are real things. They
Yeah,
do
the
go
World
out.
Bank.
You know,
it's all a load of bollocks. It's all a load of fucking bollocks. All of it. It's like Greece. You know, oh, you're in debt now. Who to? The World Bank. The what? When did they give Greece money? Well, it was long-term borrowing. Did any money come into Greece? No, it's what they were let off with something else. What the fuck are you talking about? So anyway, the fact is, we can afford it. We can fucking afford it.
yeah, we can.
You know, I mean, look at, was that company, a company was set up and a couple of weeks later got a £100 million deal from the government to produce PPE. Just so happens that the directors of this company were connected to government people by marriage and friendship. Totally, purely coincidental. It's a shame Marcus Rashford didn't donate to the fucking Tory party. Then we might have seen something done. I'm just disgusted by the whole fucking thing. And even more when I see ordinary fucking people, you know, online defending the government. That drives
No.
me fucking insane.
Well, that's the thing. The irony, that's the irony, isn't it? Because they have been such scumbags about it that people are donating because it's like a fuck you thing, you know. It's weird the way things work out in that way.
It's fucking revolting. Absolutely fucking revolting. The Vapist said banks can lend out more money than they have. Lacey says print the cash.
Oh, she was talking about, by the way, she clarified they're muting Trump's mic tonight in the debate, and that's
Oh, they're not, are they?
they've got a mute on both, but it's obviously
It's
gonna
only
be,
Trump that's going
it's
to get
gonna
hit
be
with
Trump.
it. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Gorgeous George says Hayden Hewitt for Greater Manchester Mayor. Nope. Not even if it was possible. Keenan Hughes says doesn't even have to be the teachers. There are plenty of people. Graham would be one of them that would be there serving meals.
Yeah. No,
As simple as that.
I'm not joking. I email my school every single week asking if they need help.
They never want you on the premises, though.
No,
do they?
they've had a word about that. No, I'm not technically allowed on.
Hayden, do you dye your eyebrows? No. The eyebrows haven't gone grey yet. Let's see. Most people are just trying to ascertain if Mickey Rivera is a man or a woman for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure. Biden a ding dong. I can't watch those debates. I can't.
You know what?
It's too painful.
It was shit last. I was there at like midnight, and it was a Tuesday. I've been playing my game, and the debate. I think it was like 2 a.m. UK time, and at 1:30 in the morning, I made myself a nice big coffee and sat there, and it was shit. Apart from seeing Biden's high eyes, it was just boring. But I'm hoping it's better this time after all the email scandals.
I just can't be fucking arsed.
I'll be up for it tonight.
We're definitely going to cover all the emails and the Hunter Biden stuff next week. It's just this week. There's so much else going on. We still want to wait and see how that turns out. So we give that. Obviously, it's fucking disgraceful that Twitter are allowing the bullshit thing with Giuliani and that Borat film or whatever. They're everywhere being misinterpreted, and it's all over Twitter. New York Post are still fucking banned for posting a true fucking story.
Do you know what, Aidan? We can probably talk about it once some journalists do some actual journalism.
That
on
would
it.
help.
It'd be really good, wouldn't it?
A little bit of journalism.
Like verify the information and things like that.
Right, we got to crack on. I've got too many cool things I want to. Well, cool things. Fucking. I want to talk a little bit about lockdown. Because if I don't get to that, it'd be really cruel because Stephen stayed really fucking late to talk to us. Here in Manchester, Greater Manchester, we are now in the throes of Tier 3 lockdown. Now, that means a whole raft of things that change regularly to keep you... You're not allowed to go in... You're allowed to go in a gym, but you can't go in a pub unless the pub serves substantial food, which, to be honest, is the only place I'd ever go. Why would I want insubstantial food? But if they don't do this, it's mind-boggling. Now, there was a bit of a to-do when the government wanted to place Greater Manchester onto Tier 3 lockdowns. The local council, Richard Lees, is the leader of the council, Andy Burnham, who's our mayor, decided it would cost £90 million to put Greater Manchester into the Tier 3 restrictions. That would be the cost to business. The government said, we don't like that. We'll give you 55 million. So Greater Manchester reduced it to 75 million, saying, look, that's like, we're cutting the bones of the arse. There's the working out. And the government said no one not. So it went back and forth, and everyone was accusing the government of being arseholes. Other people were accusing Andy Burnham of just self-aggrandizing and all political point scoring, everything else. Meanwhile, it dragged on and on and on. And one point of interest is that Richard Lees, the leader of Manchester City Council, I think that's him and Howard Bernstein, but Richard Lees put forward an idea that for £14 million per month, I think it was, we could shield the most vulnerable people in Greater Manchester effectively and allow commerce to continue. The government went, oh no, we don't like that idea. Because that would cost less money and be more practical. We don't like that because that gives people agency. You want to take away agency. I saw on I listened to rather on the radio. They played the audio from a video of a 104-year-old woman in Scotland begging to be allowed to see her family. She said, it's my right to see my kids. I'm 104. I don't have long left. But we're taking away their agency. We're treating them as kids. It should be their choice. I know lockdown scandal. People were told they had COVID-19 after a chest x-ray. It was lung cancer. And they can't get treatment for it because they haven't got COVID-19. Lung cancer. We're fucking people off. We're letting them die because people die anyway. It's just the COVID we've got to be careful of so we get voted back in. Yes,
lung cancer referrals are down by 75% at the moment.
Oh, it's horrendous.
So people are either suddenly not getting it or they're just dying.
We're going to see a pandemic of sorts in the next 12 to 18 months that we're not going to fucking believe. And it'll all be diseases that had much lower figures of death. But the Manchester thing went on and on. Then the government said, no, fuck you, we're just putting you in Tier 3 restrictions. We're going to give you £22 million for enforcement and track and trace. It's already cost £12 billion. And now it looks like they'll get £60 million. And of course, what we're doing, we're forgetting about all this, about the actual costs. Everyone's busy throwing stones at Andy Burnham, bringing up the Stafford Hospital scandal and fucking everything else. And I don't have to say anything about the Conservative government. We already know all about them. But there's a massive cost to business, and business people are really struggling. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in Stephen Englander at this point. Stephen is a friend of mine. He's also an accountant and business development expert.
Yeah.
Expert, basically.
Expert.
Now, you've got a lot of small businesses and small, medium businesses on your books. Are people, in your experience, feeling pretty positive they're going to get through this right now? Or because just say there's a lot of hospitality companies in your books.
Yeah, but there is. It is quite depressing out there. But people will always find a way. I'm not particularly political, but I do see that the government seem to be trying. That the small businessman can't expect to live off government handouts. That's just the nature of life. I mean, I'm just, one of the things I do like, I've got my phone here, I'm looking at some of the comments made, and I think in these comments there's the answer. I mean, we've got a gentleman called John Grammaticus who thinks we should start a podcast called Gammon and Stephen. And he could supply the meat. I'm sure you could, John. I'm sure you could supply the meat with that, and that would help with some of the crises you were talking about with kids.
Absolutely.
No, cup of tea. Melanie should get Stephen to pay for youngsters' food. And I think there lies the issue. I mean, first of all, Melanie goes out delivering food around to less privileged people, and we do donate to charities that for food banks way before COVID. But what interests me is that it's always somebody else that should do this. It's a cup of tea saying, I should do it. Okay, maybe he's right. Maybe he's saying that because he does a lot of it and expects everybody else to. Maybe he's saying it because he thinks I've got a bit more money than I should have. But this is the attitude of small businesses. I think they're more resilient. They get up, they do what needs to be done. I know plenty of restaurants that have had to close doors, but they're out delivering. I know lots of pubs that have opened the doors to say to people, well, come and rent a space and work here. I think small businesses are the lifeblood of this country, of any country, and I think they'll find a way. I think the fact that the government are giving them something, it's never enough, but if it's enough for people to survive, sit, take stock, get the houses in order, and move on to the next opportunities. And that's my take. That's what I think everybody should do. Take a bit more responsibility for yourself. Get out there and make things happen. I was on I conducted an interview this week actually with a young man. I have a podcast show, Between the Spreadsheets, where we look at business people and entrepreneurs and that type of thing. And the guy's 22 years old. He's dyslexic. He's currently very heavily involved in the Liberal Democrat Party because he's trying to make a difference. He's a DJ, a radio broadcaster, and he started a business through lockdown not before lockdown, working, selling Dungeons and Dragons dice, and he's making a living, and he's 22. So I see these aspirational stories with everyone, and it makes me lose patience with people that aren't. I know that there's people out there that can't start a business. I know there's people out there that struggle to make a living. But, you know, we're talking about business people, and you could become a business person, and you get out there and hustle, and you will ride this out. And I think British people, I think people from anywhere in the world will find a way. And I love to see that. And in fact, my podcast shows are all about bringing that to people and trying to enable them to do that. If they pay me to do that, then that's great. If they don't, we'll still help. So stop moaning and get on with it.
We get very enamoured with the negatives of all this,
Yes,
because we
yes.
can't help it. And I know we've spoken about what positives.
See if anyone's said anything horrible about me again.
Never mind that. What
I
positives
love it.
can we
It's
take
great.
from it? And I think what we're seeing are, setting aside the ridiculous lockdowns and everything else, the changes that we're seeing in terms of the shift to online trading, to working from home, and different approaches to business, I think are ones we were going to see over the next decade or more anyway. They've just been accelerated.
That's right. This is. I've been talking about this for years. The internet's changed everything. People's mentalities have changed everything. It's great to get out and socialise, but we can socialise at Zoom for the time being, or software like that. We need to take responsibility for ourselves. A small business isn't a separate entity. A small business is you. A small business is people, and people are finding ways to make money. They're not institutions. They're not government funded. I'm not government funded. I'm actually not particularly politically aware. I'm not looking at macroeconomics and decisions government makes. I'm looking at how the corner shop or the local pub is going to survive through this and do the best they can. So I'm dealing with people. I'm not dealing with businesses. And I agree with everything Hayden says about charity. If we perhaps were more sort of focused on our communities and the people around us. Charity, I hate to say, begins at home, but you look after your own and you look after the people around you. And like I say, cup of tea. I could do with a cup of tea, actually. But like I say, cup of tea, my Melanie has gone out and goes out in her car with food and takes it round to local estates where she feels that people needs this. I haven't got the energy to do that, but I do donate to food banks, which I'm not sure is that needed, but I'm not going to comment there. There are people going hungry, and for whatever reason they should have food. They should have basic human rights to food and shelter. But I've been supporting charities for years with food banks. I think people should eat.
Just before I move on to screaming about something reasonably unrelated, lots of negativity is said. Positive. As someone who has a deep knowledge of business,
Yes.
knows how business is going, understands economics, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Yeah.
how fucked are we?
I think after COVID, I think I'm going to still be around because I still want to be around. I think my business is going to be okay. I'm looking at ways all the time of developing ideas, of communicating with people. I think we're as fucked as we want to be. I think if you want to sit down and do nothing and blame everybody else, then that's entirely up to you. Like I say, I'm not
Reminds me
into...
of a conversation I had recently with Mark
Yeah.
Bajerski.
Oh, okay.
The guy that does the crystals. And
Yeah.
Wonderful human being, very
Yeah.
warm. And we were talking about goals. Because every time you talk to Mark, he leaves you feeling better
Okay.
than you did going into the conversation. He said, so it's about goals, and he said, what are yours? So I went through it. He said, should set them a bit higher than that. I was like, we've got to be realistic. He said, why? He said, if that's what you set out for yourself, that's where you'll stop.
Yes. Yeah.
Aim higher. Set some on the way, but aim higher. And I just wanted some positivity out of this.
Yeah,
because I'm about to delve really deep into negativity.
Well, there was problems like this before COVID. A lot of whether it's COVID, whether it's a recession, whether we've got hurricanes, whatever it is, people take stock, and the government's allowing us to take stock by giving us something, and we find a way through, and there are ways through, and we will recover because people want to live in a community like we have in the UK. They want to go shopping. They want products, services. They want to be around other people, and I think when we do come out of this, I think maybe for a little while at least, people appreciate being around other people and appreciate that the bars do provide more of a service than just taking money off you so you can get drunk, and people that are not in business perhaps have less control over their lives, so maybe have to rely on the government grants and the new furlough and the new job support schemes. But at the end of the day, it will pass and people will go back to normal. There are plenty of jobs out there. I've got clients that were running businesses turning over hundreds of thousands of pounds, maybe even a couple of £1 million, that now realise that things are on hold or reduced a lot, and what they're doing, they're going out delivering for Amazon. They're going out delivering Deliveroo. Plenty of people
Making do.
You know, there's always something if you take control, and it's not just about money, because it's very depressing not doing anything. Take control, do something, go and deliver for Deliveroo, go and work for Amazon, go and drive for UPS.
Do
There's
whatever
lots
it
of
takes.
things. Yeah,
Do whatever it takes.
do whatever it takes, but you'll feel better. People will feel better, and you won't be here making silly remarks and blaming the government.
Well, no, I'll always blame the government.
Oh yeah, but you have a right to, Hayden, because you're one of those people I believe shouldn't be sat around talking about, and Graham as well. And I said this before, that Graham in particular should be in the cabinet. I would vote for you, Graham.
You've been in the closet for quite a while, to be fair.
I appreciate that.
Not absolutely right. Graham's incredibly passionate.
Yeah. Well, now that the
Human
pubs are closed for a while, there'll be less political opinions going on. So
Which always
what we're going
helps.
to do?
I really miss arguing in pubs about politics,
Yeah.
actually. I
Well,
do.
This is the
what we're gonna
nearest
do.
we can get.
Yeah.
This is the nearest we can get. When we used to it on, usually after a podcast, we'd have an argument, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just before we move on, if you go on YouTube, it's Stephen Englander. You can see his streams. He's going to move to a Thursday, actually. Build a Better Business shows. There's none of that, like American bullshit with promises and making millions. It's just about being in business. If you do have a small business and you want to know more about grants that are available, go and watch the video that he put out tonight. I believe you can get in touch and he'd give you a list of dozens of sheets of grants that you can go for and get some help
But
with.
they only help businesses and charities.
Yeah, well, go and check it out. Do check it out, and it's stephenenglander.co.uk. It's down in the description. Now, while we're still on lockdown and British politics, we are going to move on very soon to something else. In Wales, they're going on a full lockdown. They're going for a fire break. Not a circuit breaker, a fire break to stop coronavirus sweeping through those damp, miserable valleys of Wales in its tracks, or some shit. But they've had a brilliant idea. Not only are they going into lockdown for a rather novel 17 days, I'd love to hear the fucking science behind that one. 17. I don't really understand where that comes from, but they decided that supermarkets are going to be instructed that they can only sell essential goods during the 17-day lockdown. Now, I'm really fucking confused by this, because A, who decides what's essential? For me, it might well be toilet roll, cigarettes, bacon. Might be different for somebody else. But if they're going to the supermarket anyway, what business of yours is it what they buy while they're there? If they're going to buy a pint of milk and want to get a widescreen television, a pair of Wellington boots and a bird feeder, they might think that's essential. We're going further and further down this road of allowing governments to tell us where we can go, when we can go there, what we're allowed to buy, who we can meet outside, who we're allowed to meet in our own fucking back gardens, and who we can have in our home. And we're happy about it. Because they're creating a fire break, guys. They're protecting us. So that in another 2 months, when they relax these restrictions, we can jump straight back into them again when every fucker starts testing positive. There was a guy on YouTube, and I wish I'd kept the link. It was a link from Twitter. He bought 2 COVID tests. You know, these tests that are no good whatsoever for the purpose we're using them for. One, he did his swabs. You'll like this, Graham. He did the nose and the throat, did all that. The other one, he undid the packaging but left it closed. He sent both of them off. The one that was left closed came back positive. And because it came from his address, he had to lock down. The one that he swabbed, negative. People have been swabbing the dogs and sending those in. You're not supposed to advise people because you can get in trouble and kicked off platforms, but the truth is, don't install that fucking app. You're not helping anyone. Wash your hands. Wear a mask around everyone. If it makes you comfy, live your fucking life.
They tried to make me put the app on in Sainsbury's, and I'm like, it's freaking Sainsbury's. There's so many people here. What are you going to do if I've got
What,
it?
did you see the thing from the Met?
No.
The Met Police? They put out something for businesses that they should record everyone's photo ID and information and pass it on. And now we find out that the information the app's collecting is being fucking sold and used for mailing lists. Apparently the Met got a bit of a slap down for that, because now we've got the police deciding, well, if the government can rule by edict, why can't we? Why can't we just make some fucking rules up for people? You know, hundreds of years ago in England, we had the Magna Carta to do away with the rule of edict, to allegedly put us under the rule of democratic law, or the embryonic stages of democratic law. And we've thrown it all out the fucking window because some people have died of a really nasty fucking flu. Thrown it away, just giving it all up, and there's people out there defending it. You are fucking idiots. You know, yes, social distancing, be safe, be careful, be reasonable. Shield if you're vulnerable. Get help for that. Perfect. Fine. Should be your decision. No one should be allowed to tell you. Now, someone said, yeah, but a lot of people are stupid. Well, life deals harsh lessons. We've got to fucking live. Hiding in your house whilst insisting working class people carry on, risking getting the fucking disease so that you can have your Ocado fucking delivery. That's not living. That's hiding. That's existing like a fucking rodent. Stop it. It's embarrassing. Very annoyed, Graham. Very annoyed tonight.
Yeah, you know, I went out to a cafe a couple of mornings ago. In fact, me and my partner, it was a big thing. We're going to have breakfast, no phones. It's going to be amazing. And it was horrible. They had coffee. There was no food on at all. They basically had sausage rolls or tea cakes, and it was so sterile and horrible. The whole thing was just fucking awful. Like, no, it's depressing, man. I'm just thinking,
fucking awful.
It's like, I'm not saying I want some guy picking his nose in the kitchen or whatever like that, but can there not be some allowances for someone like me who is just more than happy to just be in a relaxed environment, just to experience that? You know, like I consent, you consent, we're all happy here. You know, we're distancing and washing our hands, but can you just give me a fucking full English and let me sit down and just eat it and
Let me be
happy?
human for a day.
Like they made me wear the mask as I walked in and took it off at the table and stuff. And I'm like, what's the fucking difference? I'm right here.
Oh, I love that.
It was like this distance between me and you. Now it's like, what's the fucking distance?
I saw a picture from an orchestra who were wearing masks. There was a young lady that played like the saxophone or something. I had the mouth cut out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Have you seen people are eating like that? They've got them down.
Are they fucking mental?
And putting it inside the
Are
sweat.
you fucking the face hole is visible. The shit comes out. You've got the mouth. No, fuck them. Last thing on British politics, Angela Rayner, who was an MP for Ashton and Stalybridge or something, also the shadow deputy leader, second most important person after Keir Starmer. In a bit of hot water. You see, there's a Tory MP called Chris Clarkson who pointed out that Labour were exploiting the pandemic for political gains. Angela Rayner in Parliament called him scum. Now, as it happens, both of those people were correct. Labour are, backing the government 1 minute, turning around political points. It's what they do. They don't give a fuck about people in Parliament. It's about winning. At the same time, I do believe Chris Clarkson is a bit scummy. But perhaps I don't want them behaving like that in Parliament. It turns my stomach when you hear all that. No, that's bad enough. But Angela Rayner, who is held up now as a champion of the people, because she came from a council estate and she was a fucking social worker, instantly should disbar you from being in government. Called him scum. And he is scum. Angela Rayner's much, but that's the person we need. I would like to remind everyone that doesn't perhaps follow me or know, Angela Rayner is the MP, and one of her constituents was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was left to fucking die in a care home by the NHS, who didn't give a fuck. They left her to die and only turned up at the end to make her go off that bit fucking quicker with end-of-life drugs. When I contacted Angela Rayner's people, Angela was too busy to take a personal interest in a constituent dying. And I know my mother-in-law wasn't the only one. She was too busy on Twitter and Zoom, posting about how bad the Tories are and Mike fucking Pence. So forgive me if whilst Chris Clark may be scum, I don't think very much more of Angela fucking Rayner. Thank you very much. Just wanted to get that one out. Sometimes you got to get the bowl of poison out, Graham.
Yeah, she's fucking awful, isn't she?
She's fucking dreadful. I remember sitting there. Andy Burnham got in touch. He asked questions, gave me some answers, what he could get. Lucy Powell, Manchester MP, too busy. Angela Rayner, who was my mother-in-law's MP, was too busy to get in touch or to deal with it. Because she was tweeting about shit that doesn't affect us. Because let's be honest, if you are the shadow going, if you're in opposition, all you really do all day is throw fucking stones at the other side anyway. How busy are you? You won't drop it just to check in on if the story about an old lady being left to fucking die because the GP wouldn't go to her, they wouldn't take her to hospital, and no one had fucking come out, and they just sent paracetamol, and she wouldn't take them because she had dementia, which got worse while she had that. After she died, on the death certificate, it was dementia and pneumonia. She could have gone into hospital for 12 hours, been pumped full of antibiotics, been back at the care home. And they said to me, well, she might have caught COVID. He said, yeah, but she actually caught fucking dead. Maybe a chance. Maybe she'd been given a chance. But they don't tell you they did give up on people above a certain demographic. Fuck you, bye-bye. Whilst having capacity to spare, whilst having Nightingale hospitals, whilst making TikTok videos and twerking, people were dying. People weren't getting the cancer treatments. People weren't getting, checked properly. They weren't going to appointments. But hey, we made TikTok videos. We all went out on a Thursday night and clapped for the NHS like fucking idiots. Fuck the lot of them. Seriously. And just to end on a real low, we might end up on some cloud chat. We've got a few minutes here now. 2020 has given us many things, now including a beheading in Paris. Just a week or so ago, Samuel Paty, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, a school teacher was beheaded by a Chechen refugee, which confuses me greatly because I didn't realise Chechnya was all that close to France, and I'm sure he must have passed through some other countries on his way to being a refugee. And I don't remember France ever having much to do with Chechnya, but for some reason, this Chechen guy was in France. Now, here was the crime of the teacher. He was doing a class on freedom of expression, a very important thing in a democratic society. And part of that was he was going to show drawings of Muhammad, which we're not allowed to do, by the way, on this show will get pulled. So Graham found a drawing of Jesus, which apparently we can post pictures of thumbs up Jesus without being beheaded at all. So that works quite well. Quite a pale Jesus, but he looks very happy. I'm imagining that was pre-crucifixion.
We've got this as well every week. Devil there.
Yeah,
Devil
but see, the
Aiden.
thing is, we can take the piss out of Jesus,
Yeah.
out of the Jewish God that wants you to stone witches. Can do all that. If we put a picture up, even not a bad one, just a historical drawing of Muhammad, if we do that, we can have our video pulled, just the channel pulled, for being wildly offensive. But what happened is, he said, we're going to show this picture. If you are Muslim, you can leave the room. It's fine. If you find it offensive, that's how you deal with it. You take yourself away from it. And that's cool, right? Sounds cool. And he showed a picture. And the parents of one child who allegedly never saw the fucking thing, but was terribly offended. And a local imam created a stink. And it somehow came to the attention of this angry young Chechen man who questioned some children, allegedly gave them a couple of francs or euros, I am sorry, about who the teacher was and where he was, found the teacher, shouted God is great, and cut his fucking head off. He then shot at the French police with a BB gun, and they shot him fucking dead. Now, it's coming to something when we live in a world where beheading doesn't make everybody stop and go, what the fuck? Do you mean a school teacher got his head cut off for showing a drawing? We didn't even pause for thought. Just took it in our stride. Fuck it, right? It's 2020. But this man had his head cut off. He died an excruciatingly painful, gruesome, horrific fucking death for daring to show a picture. Now, do you know what's... it's not as bad as murder, but do you know what's really fucking horrible? The reactions. Well, he shouldn't have shown it. Pardon? Well, you shouldn't offend people. No, I don't understand.
Was his skirt too short as well, Hayden?
That must have been it. His skirt. Maybe he walked his dog past him. Because they seem to have a fucking problem with that. Now, if you talk like this, you are Islamophobic. You're not. No, I just don't like murderous fucking assholes that can't keep their fucking angry sky genies to themselves. I find it annoying if a Jehovah's Witness knocks on my fucking door, let alone some prick cutting a school teacher's head off. How long are we going to tolerate the intolerant? How long are we going to do this? Now, I understand we take refugees in. We have to. It's part of being a civilized society. You provide safe harbour to people. That's fine. You don't let them make the fucking rules. You don't take someone from fucking Chechnya, drop him in a modern cosmopolitan city and say, there you go, mate, on you go. Because you may think it's racist to say this, but I'm telling you, if you take a fucking goat herder from Afghanistan and drop him in Bradford, the prick's going to be up to no fucking good. Because he's got his own culture, his own way of life, his own understanding. We're not acclimatizing people. We're bending over backwards to appease people that are fucking horrible. If your God says you must not look at a woman in a short dress, well, move somewhere where you don't see women in short dresses, or shut your fucking eyes. I'm sick and tired of living in a world where offending people is apparently the worst thing you can fucking do. Now, you don't need to go out your way to hurt someone. But do you know what? When someone says, hey, this Islamic fucking nutcase cut a teacher's head off, you don't turn around and start moaning, well, you shouldn't upset them. You know, one guy's answer was, well, they're killing people. You can't reason with them. We should stop doing all these things. We should stop upsetting them. We should, just start living a way that they won't be. When does it fucking stop? When does it stop? Where does it end? Like Malmo? I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live under Islamic rule. It's not compatible with my way of life. There are other countries where they have that, And we can allow that. You can be here, you can worship, you can believe whatever you like. Whatever your fantasy delusion is, believe it, enjoy it, whatever gets you through the fucking day. But don't make it my problem. I don't need your God. I don't need your fucking crutch because you're terrified that when you die that might just be fucking it. I don't need it. That's your problem. Enjoy it on your own. I don't care if you think it was absolute word of God. I'm not asked. I don't believe it. So, fuck all your gods. Keep them to yourselves. I would never campaign to force you to stop believing in what you believe, because it's none of my business. So why would you impose it on anyone else? Why would we tolerate that? We spent fucking centuries in Europe pulling ourselves through the dark ages, the monarchies, the plagues, the invaders, the bullshit, to get to a place where, as shit as we might think it is, it's the most privileged human beings have ever been in terms of freedom, in terms of opportunity, in terms of quality of life, the arts, everything. We are at the pinnacle of mankind's achievements. Why would you want to turn that back to appease some fucking lunatic head chopper from fucking Chechnya, which is a shithole? Let him go back to his shithole. Go and find another shithole. Maybe there's places where it's all right chopping teachers' heads off. Go and live there. You'll run out of teachers at some point, but apparently moving on to other victims has never been a fucking problem. Again, fuck your God. Fuck your holy books. Fuck your prophets, your preachers, whatever the fuck it is. I do not care. The flying spaghetti monster, through to Yahweh, through to some fucking Babylonian sun god. Don't give a fuck. It means nothing to me. I will respect your right to worship as you please if you'd only respect everyone else's right to think you're full of shit. To leave you fucking to it. And don't mind the people. Don't mind them. Don't do it. Keep it to your fucking self. It's like fucking herpes. You have to spread it, especially through the newborns. I don't want it. I don't want your delusional herpes. We shouldn't be living like this. It should be fucking intolerable. But because we're a civilized society, we can't just watch these people who all put fucking YouTube videos out, right? Decrying the West, saying it's corrupt, we must damage it. We can't just throw them out, apparently. Because apparently it's wrong to inflict them on somebody else. But it seems to me all of their theme parks are in the Middle East and North Africa. That's where that looks like they'd have a fucking great time over there. All manner of shit blowing up. Getting stabbed, getting fucking murdered, shot, goats, whatever the fuck it is you do. Your theme parks are out there. If you want to come here, live your life, be part of our society, still worship whatever you want, great. But we can't tolerate these people telling us how to live in a regressive fashion. We shouldn't ever allow regression. We're too quick to bend over because we're terrified of being seen as the nasty racists. It's not racist to not want something in your community that's immensely damaging to everybody, not just to the white people, to everybody. It's damaging to Muslims, hugely, to have these kind of influences in their communities. I don't know what the answer is because, I'm not, throw them all out. No, you can't. Because the overwhelming majority are people that just get on with their fucking lives. So, until the only answers possible are ones we could never possibly entertain. But what amazes me and what I fucking love about the woke especially, because I've not had a dig at you all fucking night, when it comes to the Muslims that you're defending about not offending, you don't want to offend them, you don't want to say anything nasty about them, I don't see you fucking standing up for the ones in China being crammed into concentration camps right now. Why is that? Would it be racist against the Chinese? Because when Donald Trump called it Kung Flu, Kung Flu, oh, you're up in arms. Videos on the internet were showing Chinese officials disbarring black people from public spaces because they think they were dirty and full of the virus. Not a word was said. We've shown videos of them being forced into concentration camps now for being Muslim. It took people like Majid Nawaz to do campaigns. They had to relentlessly remind everyone there's practically a fucking Holocaust going on in China. No one really fucking cares. Do you know why? There's no virtue points in it for them. There's no easy win. If Poland started doing it, we could really have a go there, couldn't we? Them nasty white Polish people, we could have a proper fucking dig at them. But the Chinese, well, got a couple of minorities there, very tricky. Minorities of billions. Very tricky, very tricky. Best just to ignore that. Best just to ignore that and focus on Lawrence Fox. Let's focus on the real problem. Let's focus on misgendering. You're all full of shit. You're all full of shit. You fucking arseholes. You fucking arseholes who call everyone else, but at the end of it, it's everyone else that has to dig you out the shit because you're incapable of operating in a society. Pampered, spoiled, entitled bastards. Because as long as it's not you getting fucking stabbed or beheaded, well, it's all right then, isn't it? I'm not going to do the shouting at clouds things, Graham, because I feel like I've already done that.
I'm not sure how that would be different from any of the rest of the show.
No, me either, but I feel kind of better for that.
And now the shouting at clouds segment. Sorry, am I supposed to do something different at this point?
Yeah.
I don't...
Just follow me on Twitter at Hayden Hewitt. It's what I do every fucking day anyway, so. Sutty's telling me what's happened to the Uyghurs in China because he's in the fucking know, right? The concentration camps. Anytime people being put in fucking pyjamas and crammed on trains, ain't nothing good at the other end of that shit. Nothing at all. Guys, thanks so much for watching tonight. Remember, like, subscribe, hang out with us. And Graham and I will have another argument next week. We'll be back next Thursday. Remember, on Saturday, you do get Smoke Steve's International Pub at 11 p.m. UK time on this channel. He hosts it. It's open. You can join in. You can get in on the broadcast. Graham's often there in a state of advanced refreshment. And that's every Saturday, so do join Steve for that. He's a very generous and pleasant host. And we'll be back next Thursday at some point in the distant future when we're allowed. We might start other days up again as well. But we got to get there. Have you enjoyed yourself tonight, Graham?
I have, yeah. I really enjoyed the whole evening, actually.
But it's been a fun evening.
It's a shame it's not live yet, so we can't show people. But I'll once the show we did went live, I'll add it onto the end of this as a card. Cause
that'd be cool, wouldn't it?
I'd really, really recommend people go and watch it. Like, Stephen was talking about everything from business owners all the way down to people on benefits. Yeah. It's really, really
absolutely
worth your time.
Checked out by all. But it's nice to have a creative space again, isn't it? And to be doing creative things, not just be sat on webcams getting drunk and shouting at each other in our own homes.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's why I can't. A few people are talking about the midday thing, and it's like I can't just sit in my house and stream. I need to be outside. I need to do things. Maybe I'll start going to the park and doing ranty diaries.
Oh, yes, please.
Do you know? Just my little GoPro, but I can't.
The police, Hayden. It's the police. Come and get me.
But I've been locked in. I've been locked in with my partner and my daughter for so many months now. I just can't do it. Yeah, we need to get back to some sort of routine and normality.
Sheehan Rose says, is it Sheehan? Is that how you pronounce it? SIAM? I'm close. Ms. Rose. There we go. Said, first time listen, a bit too sweary, but good. I thought I hadn't swore too much tonight.
I thought you behaved, yeah.
I thought I'd been quite good tonight. That was quite clean for me. That was all right.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Rick Kerr says, if you don't subscribe, you're racist. Yeah, that's totally true. If you don't subscribe to this, you're a racist, misogynist, transphobic, possible paedophile. So I really would recommend subscribing immediately to avoid ending up on some kind of terrible register. Guys, thanks so much for watching and your time. I look forward to chatting to you again next week. Remember, you can get in touch through the week. Graham is at Graham Booth on
Yes.
Twitter. I'm at Hayden Hewitt on there. Everything else is going to be in the links. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.